A lot of you will not be able to accept what I'm about to say, but the perspective I give you may just be the most important thing you ever hear. I see time and time again, Christians go to church, they feel the Spirit during worship, they feel the love of God during prayer until the church service ends. And you still sort of feel that fire and that passion for God, and you go about your Sunday until Monday morning comes along. You're listening to Drake on the drive to work. You pick up your Starbucks little soy latte with 120 grams of sugar, destroying your brain. You're thinking negative thoughts about the long, dreadful shift that you're about to work. You slave away at work with a negative, poor mindset. You get home and you're tired and you just want to wind down for the night with movies or maybe a video game before sleeping. You just want some time to enjoy yourself after a hard day of work. Meanwhile, God is waiting for you, expecting you to talk to him, expecting you to show up spiritually. But the creator of the universe, the creator of you, gets stood up by you. The rest of the week, you don't feel God. You don't feel as happy. You don't feel as at peace. You don't feel as content with your life till Sunday morning comes around again. Why do we do this? I want to start this off by sharing my story with my experience of how I fell out of the spiritual gym. And so a few months ago, I lost my job and I didn't know how to make money. I was doing delivery, Uber, DoorDash, all that stuff, and wasn't making enough money. I started to get kind of lazy, honestly, very demotivated, demoralized, thinking, well, I'm just getting all these negative thoughts and I'm entertaining them because they feel nice. And I'm building a stronghold for myself. And now I kept turning away further and further from God. I felt like I didn't deserve God anymore. I didn't feel like I deserved God anymore. And then I just turned away. I started to get tempted more. My demeanor started to change. I started to lose a lot of strength spiritually. I didn't have that same discipline, that same willpower, that same Holy Spirit, like God presence. Gives you the willpower, gives you the discipline, gives you the will, gives you the motivation, gives you the drive. I didn't have that anymore. My demeanor started to change. My peace went away. My love for others faded away. I started to grow kind of numb inside. I would get cold, which all of these things subsequently made my relationship with God even worse in the end. It's like the bad habits that I started compounding ruined my relationship even more. But the reason why I ended up in that place was because I turned away from God. I turned away from that relationship. I turned away from that purpose. What a dark time that was. It was a very brief period, and I picked myself back up, but man, was that a dark time to be in. And it was very humbling, and that's why you haven't seen any videos recently. Been a while. Hey. I have short hair now. I got that military high cut, which looks horrible on camera, but it looks better in person, honestly. I am not saying this is salvific, but what I'm saying is that we have to be in a spiritual gym every single day. And the reason why, by the way, I'm not talking to atheists right now. I'm talking to Christians. I'm talking to the people who have experienced God and they want God. They love God. They want God, but they just feel themselves turning away. They feel themselves getting lukewarm. They feel themselves not being as on fire. They feel themselves not having the love for God anymore, or it diminishing over time. They feel themselves just not feeling like that first time they met God, not having that same feeling, that same love, passion, peace. And what a sad way to live, to know the glory of God and to turn away from that. Just like how one day of skipping the gym would lead me down weeks of inconsistency and just like a poor mindset overall. So did skipping that one day of prayer, that one day of Bible study, and it makes an impact, and it compounds and it compounds. I skip a few days in the spiritual gym. All of a sudden, I'm not going to the spiritual gym at all during the week. Revelation 3:16. If you are lukewarm, I will spew you out of my mouth. I will vomit you out of my mouth, whatever translation you want to use. That verse scared me so much. That verse terrified me. Because what am I worth? I have another verse. I don't have it written down. I don't have any notes of this, but Matthew, I don't want to get this wrong. It's in Matthew. I don't know what verse. My memory verse is terrible, by the way. If you couldn't tell already from my videos. Matthew 7. I was going to say that. That was like the first thing I wanted to say, but then I said Matthew 14. Matthew 7. I didn't even look at the verse. It's 20 something, whatever. Everybody knows the verse. Do not... I need to get back into recording these videos, man. It's been way too long. Depart from me, I never knew you, you workers of iniquity, lawlessness. This is why that verse is so terrifying. The terrifying part about that verse, as well as Revelation 3:16, there's probably another verse I'm thinking of. The terrifying part about these verses is that it makes it very clear that these people have dedicated their lives to God. Dedicated. Oh, we healed the sick. We casted out demons in your name. You can make any argument why, you can make any analysis of that verse you want, but it all comes down to having that relationship with God. And how do you keep a relationship going? You put work into it. It takes work. I'm not preaching works-based salvation, but it takes work to maintain a relationship. And fine, you might still be saved. Again, I'm not saying this is salvific, but it can be. It can lead to you losing your salvation if you harden your heart towards God and you turn away completely after compounded just bad habits. Everything comes down to that relationship with God. Okay, I want you to think back to the first day you started going to the gym. If that isn't applicable to you, then think of a habit that you do every day, something you do in your routine, just something you've always done every day. But it was like really hard to start doing. It was really difficult to get into the habit of. Think of that. But for the gym goers, I think this analogy will really help you. Think back to that first day in the gym, how hard it was, how much you hated it, how sore you got, how tired and weak you were, how hard that workout was to accomplish, to overcome. Even though it wasn't like much effort, you didn't have the strength. And that demotivated you. That really demotivated you. And the same applies when you take like a really long break from the gym. You go back and you just don't want to be there. You're sore easily. You just don't feel very good. You've had all the years of going to the gym, but all of a sudden it's hard again. It's difficult. You're frustrated because you're just weak. You're not as strong as you used to be. Eventually, you force yourself to go a few times anyway, just to get the habit down, just to force yourself to say that you did it. And you start seeing progress. The noob gains show up. Anybody who goes to the gym, they know about noob gains. The noob gains come in the first few months. You gain a lot of strength. But nonetheless, working out has actually started to become fun in that time period. And rather easy actually. And you really enjoy it. And it's kind of one of your favorite parts of your day. Nobody has ever explained it to you in this way. But the same goes for prayer. Same goes for God. The same goes for reading your Bible. Again, works-based. Oh my gosh. People are not going to like this because it sounds very works-based, but it's not. It's not works-based. Faith without works is dead. That's exactly what I'm saying right now. The more you pray, the easier it is going to be to initiate prayer. And the easier it will be to get into a flow during prayer. And the more you'll enjoy prayer, the more you'll like it. The less you pray, the harder it is going to be to start praying. The harder it is going to be to know what to pray about. And it seems daunting because you haven't done it. So you just brush it aside. You brush prayer aside. You brush Bible study aside. It just seems such like a daunting task. You brush the gym aside. You can't let yourself brush it aside. Prayer is so important. And in a very physical, worldly way, the gym is very important. But prayer, reading your Bible is so vital. And yet we brush it aside so easily because it's so daunting because we haven't done it. And subconsciously, it's something we take very seriously. And that's why we don't want to do it just half. We want to do it fully with our whole heart. But we sabotage because we know we aren't doing our best. And it's hard to get back into it. Going back to the gym for the first time in months, you're not going to be at 100%. You're going to be at like 50, 30%. It's going to be like 60% of your strength. But people don't acknowledge this. People don't think about this. And then they turn away from God completely and they don't pray anymore. And they become lukewarm and they hate their life and they're miserable. And they're just going through the motions. But there's no love for God anymore. There's no passion anymore. That's what this video is about. And likewise, the more you pray, the less you sin. You have to realize that prayer is quite literally warfare in the spiritual realm. I also want to say this as I kind of get like a word of knowledge. Just because your prayer isn't answered doesn't mean it won't happen. Doesn't mean things aren't being orchestrated. Like, it doesn't mean that things aren't working out. Because you never know when that one prayer is the one to change everything. And there's the parable, and I forget the parable exactly, but it's like along the lines of like the lady bugging the judge, bugging. Eventually the judge just, does what she wants just to get her off his back, right? It's the same for God. Sometimes you have to force yourself to do what you're supposed to do in order to want to do it. You don't want to go to the gym for the first time. Nobody does. If you force yourself to go, after a few months, you're going to love the gym. You're going to be addicted. Sometimes you're overwhelmed by the idea of going to the gym. You have to think about it in steps. This is another thing, by the way. This is another thing. If you struggle with prayer, listen to this very carefully. This is like an actionable step if you're struggling with prayer right now and you just don't know how to start. You don't know where to begin. When I was struggling to go to the gym, this is a big thing that you can do. I would think of it in steps. I wouldn't think about, I have to go to the gym. I have to make it to the gym. I have to hit this amazing workout. Otherwise, it's not worth it. No, I don't think of it like that. So what I would think of it as, okay, I just have to put my socks on. I just have to put my shoes on. I just have to put my headphones in. I just have to get in my car. I just have to drive to the gym. I don't have to work out, I just have to drive to the gym. And then I have to walk into the gym, go into the little locker room and get changed or whatever. Drink your little protein shake, your Celsius. At this point, I'm already in the gym. I already have my headphones in. I already have the music playing. I'm already here. I might as well work out. And actually, I ended up having a pretty good workout in the end, and it was worth it. And I don't get to trick my mind into saying, oh, it won't be a good workout. There's no point in going. I won't make progress. I'll just skip today, do something else. I don't get to do that because I didn't let myself make that excuse from that first step. I set extra steps. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then, well, might as well pray. So what could that be for prayer? Let's put this analogy to the test. What would you do for prayer then? You can go to your room, turn off your phone. You can just start thinking about God, thinking about your worries, thinking about whatever's on your mind. You can start thinking about what you're grateful for, just kind of force those thoughts. And then at this point, you have something to kind of base your prayer off of. You can start talking to God. You can say, hey, how's your day, Lord? And then you just say gratitude. You say what you're grateful for, what you're thankful for, what he's done in your life. Acknowledge what he's done in your life. Acknowledge what he's done in other people's lives. And then give him your issues. Give him what you're worried about, what you're concerned about. Treat it like a relationship. Treat it like a friendship. Treat it like it's something so precious to you and you don't want to lose it. How worried we are about losing the girl that we've been talking to for 3 weeks. But you're not worried about losing God. You have no worry in the world about losing God. You have no concern about losing God, about losing the presence of God. Get in the secret place, shut off your phone, close your door. Maybe it's your car, so get in your car, shut off your phone. It really does work. This strategy is an amazing strategy. It takes away all self-sabotage. It takes away all excuses that you could put in your head. But we have to do our part. We have to be diligent. We have to be consistent. If you talk to your wife or your girlfriend, whoever, one day a week for 90 minutes, like think about it logically here. How much more is God? How much bigger is God? How much more does he want from you? Prayer is such a beautiful thing, and it really does work, and it really does make your life better. And we also tend to forget how awesome it really is that we get to talk to the creator of the universe. We tend to forget that we can talk to that creator. We can have a conversation with him. Yes, we might not be able to hear him. Yes, it might feel one-sided at times. It might feel like we're alone, but he's there. You can feel him. You can feel his presence. It's supernatural. It's not fake. It's not fairy tale. It's not make-believe. You can really talk to God. You can really have that conversation and feel the peace from it and feel the effects of it. And it changes your life and makes your life so much more beautiful. So dedicate yourself to praying every single day. Even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's all I have for you today. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.